All right, this is Coach Guide, and we're going to be going over the lab that we're going to do. It's our coppers and silver nitrate reaction. All right, it's our first lab in Unit 8, stoichiometry. So, if you look through your lab sheet, you're going to need a couple of things. One, you're going to need a piece of copper wire. You'll need a vial of silver nitrate. You'll need a good, clean 150 milliliter beaker. You'll need a clean test tube. If it's not clean, make sure you clean it before you do the reaction. You'll need a stirring rod. Make sure it's clean too. All you have to do is wipe that off on the cloth. And of course, you'll need some distilled water. So that's all you're going to need for this reaction. So if you look at your sheet, there's a couple of weighments that you're going to need, and the massing is going to be extremely important for this reaction, for this lab, because it is a stoichiometric lab. First of all, you're going to get the mass of your beaker, the empty beaker. Then you're going to get the mass of the vial of the silver nitrate. Vial and the silver nitrate. And write that down. Then you'll need to get your copper wire and get the mass of it. And then after you get that, then you're ready to start doing what you got to do. So we're going to go ahead and get our masses now. I'm going to use balance number 3, so this is balance number 3. I want to use the same balance each time so I can have the same type of error from my balance here, right? So my first weighment, and you only need to go to the 2 digits, right? So I'm going to put my beaker on there, and I see on my sheet I'm going to write balance number 3. So I wrote balance number 3. I've got a mass of the beaker at 68.057. 68.057. Because this does 3 digits, I'm going to go ahead and record everything. So I've got that mass. I'll zero it out, 0 again. Now I'm going to record the mass of the vial and the silver nitrate. So I'm going to record 7.994. That'll level out a little bit. 7991. Okay, cool. Now I went ahead and wrapped my wire around my pencil and made it like a curlicue, because that's going to stick into my test tube so the reaction can occur. So I'm going to zero this out again on balance number 3, and I'm going to mass it. I got 1.838. All right, so that's all the massing I'm going to do right now. We're just about to start our reaction. Okay, so we're ready to start doing the reaction. So I'm going to put about, I don't know, a little bit of about yay much still water into my test tube. I think you guys can see that. You can see it's not very much. It's about 10-15 milliliters. Now, I'm going to pour my vial. I want every bit of that silver nitrate that I can get out of that vial. In fact, I could even put a little water in there to make sure all of it comes out. But now I'm going to have to let it sit for a little bit because we're going to make the mass. Okay, so I poured that in there. So now I've got my silver nitrate into my solution. All right, so now I'm going to start mixing up my silver nitrate and put it in the solution. So I'm going to use all right, I want to mix that up, baby. Mix it up real good. Put it in the solution till all that powder is in the solution. And I may need to put a little more water in there, and I can. That's okay. All right, that just makes it go into solution better. All right, just about dissolved. Okay, you can see there's still some spots down there. So I'm gonna keep mixing it up till all that silver nitrate is in solution. So this should be a nice little, and that's just about it. There it is. All right, so I've got all my silver nitrate. So I'm gonna show y'all a little quick technique. I want every one of those ions I can. So as I pull out my stirring rod, I'm gonna put some distilled water in there to rinse off all that solution on my stirring rod into there. So I've got it all mixed up in there really good. So now I'm going to do my next part, and that's going to be putting the copper in. And this is gonna take about 30 minutes, but you can see, you'll be able to see some of the reaction right there, okay? And I'm gonna pause and we'll go about I've got 10, 15, I'm gonna set my timer about every 5 minutes we'll film, okay? So our reaction has been going on for 5 minutes. And if you look at the test tube, you can see that the color has changed from clear to, well, it's starting to turn blue. And I'm starting to see crystal formation. And again, this is a classic single replacement reaction where the copper is replacing the silver, or vice versa, in the solution. So you've got copper ions and nitrate ions, and you still got silver ions in that solution because it has not went to completion yet. But you can see the silver crystals are forming on that copper thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake some of those crystals off. All right, those silver crystals, just to give it more opportunity and more surface area to form my crystals, which is really what I'm interested in. Okay, so there you go. And then I'm gonna go 10 minutes. Let's see what 10 minutes looks like. All right, guys, so it's been about 10 minutes, or about 15 minutes rather, since we started this reaction. And if you look here, wow, that solution is nice. It's a nice bright blue. And you can see a whole lot of crystals forming on the copper wire. Again, what's happening? The copper wire is replacing the copper atoms are replacing the silver ions in solution. So you're forming copper sulfate solution, or excuse me, copper nitrate solution, and you've got silver crystals. So you got silver metal right there. So let's go ahead and knock some of that off, and that'll help us see. You can see it's starting to fall really good now. All right, and that'll just help us later get it off the wire. All right, and then we'll give it another 5 minutes, and we'll see if we got any more crystal buildup on that wire. Once the crystal buildup stops, then our solution is over. So we've used up all of one of the reactants. So we'll give it another 5 minutes. Okay, guys, so now our reaction's been going about 20 minutes, and man, you can really see a whole lot of blue in that solution. So let's give it another, and you notice after I shook all that silver off, the silver crystals, all right, we're just gonna shake some more off. And I will know when it's done, all right? I'm thinking whenever crystals stop forming on the copper wire. So we'll give it another 5 minutes and see where we're at. That'll be about 25 minutes. Okay, guys, so that's been about, I think, 25 minutes. Man, we're just about done. Most of that is coming right off. We're still getting some build up. Man, you see all that crystal flowing out of there? You can see all that, can't you? Let's just keep it for a little bit, about another 5 minutes. And our sheet says it takes about 30 minutes, and it does. All right, so yeah, let's give it another 5 minutes. And then we'll come back and see where we're at. Okay, so it's been about 28 minutes, so I think we're good. So if you notice, there's been no more buildup of crystal on my thing here. So, I mean, we're good. All right, let me get another angle. So now we're gonna go and get it ready for the next part. So for the next part, I've got my beaker, right? I've got it labeled. I'm gonna take the copper wire out, and I'm gonna rinse it off really, really, really good with my distilled water. See, it's getting some of those little things off. And I don't care how much water I'm using, just want to try to get as much as I can off. Don't have to go crazy about it. And I could use my little rubber policeman. So that's what I'm gonna do on that too. Now, watch what I do when I use that. So I'm trying to get all the flakes of the metal off, the crystals off, as much as I can. All right, and just flicking. Got all that. And I think we got most of it. All right, so we're good there. So I'm gonna let this dry, set this over here. Then I'm gonna take my test tube. Whoa, didn't wanna do that. Probably could have loosened that up a little bit. All right, so I'm done with the test tube holder. So I've got some silver metal in there. So now I'm gonna pour this out into the thing, and I'm gonna get as much of, I've gotta get all, if I can, all this metal out. All right, all that metal out. And I'm gonna get my little rubber policeman in there and mix it out a little bit, and that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna get all that out. And I want all that into my little thing there. Let's go rinse this out really good. Make sure I got all the pieces of metal, all the pieces of crystal. And I'm gonna put it all in there. Oh, I wanna get it all, I wanna get it all. All right, great. And I think I've got it all. One more rinse just for good luck, and there we go. All right, so I'm gonna set this up for the next table. All right, so I've got all that out. So I'm gonna rinse this off real good so we can get all the metal off of this and all the ions too. Then I'm going to decant this into my little slop. All right, and how I decant is I get my string rod and I just put it in a little hole, and then I can do, watch how I do this. Watch how I do this. Sit until I get most of the metal to flow out. Most of the liquid. And you can see that's that blue liquid. All right. And that's okay. I want it out as much as I can. Leaving the metal in my weighed up beaker. All right, I don't have any metal in there, I'm good. Then I'm going to do a wash. I'm going to wash my metal real good. All right, wash it real good. There's my first wash. I'm going to let it sit. Then I'm going to do a pour, do a decant. All right, get more of that metal out, or more of that, the nastiness, whatever might be on that metal. Copper sulfate, it would be copper nitrate, my fault. Don't want the little metal to pour out. There's my first wash. I'll do one more wash. Let it settle again. Do my decanting of the liquid. I'll do this 3 times because this is just a good number. Alrighty. Again, this crystal should be silver. So let's do one more wash. Again, try and get all that nastiness off. All that side stuff that could be going on. We're using distilled water, so we're pretty good. I don't see a lot of crap there. All right, so decant this last little bit. And I do. That's pretty dry. So now I'm going to take this and put it in the drying oven, and we're going to weigh this after it's dried. All right. We need to weigh the copper because we can do this now. So this, okay, we'll get rid of that. I'll tell you how to get rid of that later in a bit. All right, after we get done. This is going to go in the drying oven. This should be pretty dry, but I'm going to dip it in some acetone just to help it dry a little quick. We're going to get a mass of our copper, and that's when we'll come back on again. Okay, so I've taken my copper wire, you can see, and I moved it around, and that's fine. And I dipped it into some acetone so it'd dry real quick. So I'm going to get my mass of that. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and zero it out. All right, because that's what we do. And again, I'm on balance number 3. It's on my paper. So I'm going to write that down, 1.3 358. And I can tell it's dry because I don't see any loss of mass right now. So that's good. So then I can take this and I can put it in the trash can because we're done with it. My silver is in the drying oven, and all the water is coming off it. So I can I've already done the silver nitrate. I subtracted the empty vial from the full vial, okay? And now I can do my copper. So my mass of copper, or my mass of silver nitrate used was 2.530 grams. My mass of copper used, okay, if I started with 1.838, I'm going to subtract that, what was left over, 1.358. That makes sense, it lost mass. So I use 0.480 grams of copper. All right, so that was consumed. So now all we've got to worry about is how much silver did we produce. And I'll record that later. The last step is after we taking our metal or the crystals that formed on the copper wire is to find the mass of our beaker plus the crystals. So I've dried these pretty good. So they're dry now and they're ready to go. So we're going to get that right now. Okay, and okay, I'm getting 69.614. So that means I produced 69.614 minus 68.057, 7, 10, 5, 1.557 grams of silver. 7 grams of silver. So we'll look and see, analyze our numbers a little bit when we get into the studio. But so far, this looks like it's been a pretty good experiment. So we'll see what we got.